Leo, how different or similar has it been preparing for Leicester this year compared to what you were preparing for 11 months ago in the quarters?
It's different because the dynamic was different in the tournament. Remember, we played last season. We played Connacht in that back-to-back game. Then we had a trip to South Africa with a group that didn't travel then, and they were getting ready. We hadn't qualified, as top seeds at that point either during that South Africa trip. So we were sort of battling our way through that trip. So it's different on a number of fronts. So it's for the group that we've had come back in from the Six Nations. You're trying to integrate last week and the tail end of the week before. You're playing against Stormers, so first v second. So there's all these different big game dynamics taking place at the moment, and you see it all across the competition, Champions Cup, and what's gone on in the domestic competitions on the lead in as well. So there's some differences. Leicester they're Premiership champions now, so that's the big difference. Where they were sort of feeling their way back in at that point. I think they've been in really good form. The difference, I think, with the tens, and how they play with Pollard versus George Ford hasn't changed that dramatically. They still play a very strong kicking-based game, based on strong fundamentals like Leicester would be renowned for over the last X amount of years, long time. So that's important. We need to understand that. So. And they're still a very proud club, and I suppose they've got the taste for success. I think as I said, they're coming as English Premiership champions now. They've had a bit of transition with their coaching group, so which is different to what it would have been last year, but still roughly this. Is the same mindset is the same. Wigglesworth was there as a player coach, now as the head man. So, and he's pretty good understanding of what we do, I think, as well. So it's a great challenge. It's an amazing tournament. You see the quarterfinals. I guess it's a real privilege to be here. Isn't it? It's and that's the way we feel probably at the moment. Is it's sort of trying to enjoy the fact that we're here, trying to prepare as best we possibly can, even though it's a relatively short week. The game comes around so quickly. It's strange even because it's a Friday game. It's a great occasion here, as we talked about here on Saturday night, to have 52,000. The dynamic is different with the way the stadium is going to be laid out this weekend because of Easter weekend and all the rest. So, but it's the guys have been trying to enjoy themselves this week in a short week, but understand the magnitude of the occasion as well. Because if you look at the four quarterfinals, you have six winners, and then you have the two South African teams, Stormers and Sharks, who are just huge teams in every sense of the word. So they're unbelievably exciting four ties, aren't they? So in many ways, it's good to play first and see where we sit then at the end of the weekend.
Caelan Doris is in at number 7. We've never seen him start a game in that position in that jersey. How different is the role going to be for him compared to what he's used to doing week on week?
It's something we discussed quite a bit. Clearly, Josh out this week. Caelan was out last week, comes back in this week, and if that dynamic had been there in whatever order of those, say, 4 back rowers, Caelan would be the one that covers 7 anyway. So, and over the course of the last number of seasons, that's something that he has done. So. Definitely. With Scott there as well. So, you think of the relationship of those 4 back rowers, Ryan, Baird, and Jack Conan, thought played really well last week, and that was the feeling. And Scott's is outstanding as well. Has been outstanding for us all season. But Caelan has also brought something very unique, I think, throughout the last couple of seasons, really, hasn't he? This year in the Six Nations, I thought he was exceptional all across the board. So, having Scott there, at least it gives us the option to change that. If there is the need, Jack Conan and Caelan obviously play together in that 6 and 8 role as well. Plenty of commentary about that. So, we feel, particularly with the physical challenge that Leicester will pose as well, I think it'll be good for us. So. But we're blessed. We've got some guys there. Caelan's performing world-class level, isn't he? So, we're excited to see how these guys go.
Leo, with a vote of confidence there in John McKee. With Tracy gone, with Kelleher out at the moment, is the next man standing, and does he bring different special qualities?
It was brilliant for him to make his Champions Cup debut in a big occasion against Ulster. Was great, and John is someone who's worked incredibly hard on his game. If you think he featured against the Sharks in Durban this time last year, so to progress to where he has now. So that's the thing about making sure that younger guys, plenty of work goes in there. And they've had a good battle, in terms of with the two guys away, Ronan and Dan, on international duty at different stages. So, as you mentioned about James Tracy having to retire, unfortunately. But with Tyg, McElroy, Lee Barron, and John, the three of them have been excellent, I have to say. And it's that competition, they've been pushed each other on. John's just about got a nod there ahead of them, and it was great to see him come off the bench at the weekend. He deserves everything he gets because he works incredibly hard. So he's been excellent, I have to say.
Timely return for Gary Ringrose, getting him back into the centre. How important could that be going forward?
Gary's such a key figure for us, isn't he? So he captained the team a good bit during the pool stages, and in that block of games leading into the Six Nations, and he sees everything, Gary, so he knows what's going on, good feel for the group, exceptional player himself, so it's a great boost for the team. So usually competitive as well. Jordan's incredibly unlucky to drop out now after starting last week. Another one that we debated a fair bit as well. And we're lucky that we've got some really exceptional guys there, so very competitive group that we have. But hopefully this group now goes well, because it's there's just a wider group of players that gets you into these positions that you need to rely on. So back to the original question, probably around John McKee, making sure that guys are ready to step in when required. So it's some selections have been extremely difficult now. But it's great to have Gary back as well, because he brings such experience and his ability as well.
So what type of game are you selecting from Leicester? Similar to maybe the quarterfinal last year? They're probably a better team than Leicester, so you're expecting a stronger challenge there.
I suppose it's well documented when we rocked up in Welford Road last year, on a lovely sunny day. The pitch was walking around covered in surface water. So I guess that leaves a bit of an indication in terms of the mindset they had last year. Whether that mindset's the same, to a point it is, definitely. So they still go with that aerial game, try to base their game around strong set piece, contact area. They'll battle for everything. So they haven't changed the DNA from the time when I was playing over there, and as I said, the 20-30 years prior to that again. So it's based on hard work. The club is some great people there. They'll fight for everything. And our guys, they've been made well aware of it. So it's one thing being made aware of it, but it's really understanding it, a deep understanding of it. So again, I think it's just a great test. But when you're at this stage of the competition, you're going to be playing a very, very good team. So we're down to the last 8 now, and it's great, isn't it? You're former winners, Premiership champions, all the rest. So what do we expect? Even some of the team selections they have with Freddie Stewart on the wing, again, I think the aerial challenge will come. Watching a little bit of the way England played against Ireland, so very aggressive line speed. That sort of try to create that energy in the stadium. If you watch that game back, I think there's a few clues there in terms of a template that Leicester will come with. And they frustrated Ireland for large parts of that first half, especially. Obviously, there's the red card on half time, which is a big moment in the game, I think, isn't it? Because Ireland were quite frustrated, I thought, during up to that point. So I think we need to definitely take some lessons from that game, because I think there's definite similarities between Steve Borthwick coached England versus the Leicester Tigers team that we see at the moment. So because it's a lot of his footprint on the team, isn't it? You know, so yeah, no, it's a good challenge for us. Yeah.